Hi, I'm back with a video about the car that we actually bought. I know that in the last video I talked about getting a Hyundai Ioniq, but then also talked about the Hyundai Kona. We actually ended up going for the Hyundai Kona. And when we looked at it, we just felt that it had more pros, than the Ioniq. Sure, the Ioniq, as we said, maybe has a little bit more interior space, but then there were a lot of things with the Kona that were better. So we went for a 2020 year model Hyundai Kona 64 kilowatt hour Advanced Plus. And Advanced Plus is just, the package of gadgets basically that and it's a top spec. You couldn't get more. The only thing, if you look at this is some pictures from the dealer's website. I don't know why there's some artifacts down on the pictures, but I did a print screen on them that they had of the car, and I don't know why. Well, still they have that. Whatever. The color of the car is called Galactic Gray, and it's not as dark as these pictures maybe make it look as. It's more of a light gray. It's more of a the concrete gray that you can see on a lot of newer cars. And the color wasn't a thing that we necessarily were looking at. Like, sure, we would have liked maybe a red car or whatever, but one thing that really I don't want to say is disturbing with these cars, with the Konas, but they have these plastic bits around the wheels, and they tend to not. In this car, it decently matches up with the color of the car, whereas if you get a red car, the plastic inserts they will still be gray, so they will stand out a lot more. So in that sense, this is totally fine by me. I didn't really care about the color, but I was looking more at how far had the car been driven, how much warranty is left on the car, since Hyundai gives you a 5-year warranty on the car. It has about 2 years left on it. Those were more important things to me. And as I said, if we, what did it actually not have? Well, it doesn't have the two-tone paint color job that you could have, so the roof would be like black and the rest of the car would be red and so on. And it doesn't have a sunroof. That's about it. You can actually even combine those two. So, but it doesn't have neither of those things, and I don't really care for it. Why would I have a sunroof? I don't really care. And as I said, it's an Advanced Plus, so it has everything. And just take a couple of the things that it has. Their LFA system, which basically stands for Lane Follow Assist. So it's a self-driving system. And as I found out, it will drive itself for 15 seconds. Then it will give you, a visible warning that you need to take over the steering. Then if you keep on going for another 15 seconds, it will give you an audible warning. So gives you a beep. So let's say every 30 seconds you have to touch the steering wheel, or if you're just going along the road, as long as it has markings, it will stay in dead center in the lane. It will do turns, and if you just have your hand on the steering wheel, and you will naturally just touch it so much that it doesn't really care. It will just drive itself. We've done as far as the car has actually, when we bought it, had done about 42,000 kilometers. So in my mind, sure, there are lower mileage cars, but the problem was that they were all like the 39 kilowatt hour version. You'd get down to half basically. And I don't know, just we're like, if we were going to get a Kona, we want the one with the bigger battery, because then you also get faster charging speeds, because that's one of the things people complain about with these cars. Is basically, I can just let the pictures slide here when I'm talking, and they keep on talking about that the charging speed is so terrible. Fast charging is only tops out at 77 kilowatts, but in my book, like, you can still drive for like 4.5 hours, and then you have to stop charge, and then if you time that with bathroom breaks or having to go eat something, then in my book, it's not a problem. I haven't encountered it. As I said, we've gone on a road trip, and we drove 500 kilometers one way, 500 back, and not a problem. I had to stop after like 200 kilometers to go to the bathroom, and there wasn't a charger in sight. It's like, well, what am I supposed to do? So the car's not the limitation. Whereas for the Leaf that we had, the 24 kilowatt hour Leaf, I could go, not say a lot further, but I mean, you'd have to stop more often to charge than you wanted to. Whereas here it's more like, okay, so you can go for like easily, like in winter, I don't know how long we can go, because when we got the car, we still had a lot of decent weather that was hot and warm. Now it's more cold. We're down to, minus degrees Celsius in the mornings, and in daytime you'll be glad if you get up to like 10. But I mean, it will easily do 300 kilometers, even highway driving and whatnot. So the range, I'm comparing it to a 2015 Nissan Leaf with 20% battery degradation. Then of course this car will be a better car. But as I said, it's not, the range is not a problem. It has everything I want. This, let's call it self-driving. It has the adaptive cruise control, of course, the stop and go function that works really well. Like when you're driving in queues and whatnot, it's really good. Also, of course, it has the bigger screen. It has app support, and their app support is phenomenal. I haven't found one thing that I would want to do remotely controlling the car that I can't do. I mean, you can lock the car, you can unlock the car. You can choose whether when you're heating the car, do you want it to heat the steering wheel? Do you want it to heat the outside mirrors? So there's a lot of things that you can control. You can, control, set it to charge to, let's say, 80%. And then you realize that, but I'm going on a longer trip tomorrow, so you can set it up to 100. You can do all that in the app. You don't have to do it in the car. So that's just, the app is phenomenal. Sure, I'm coming from the Nissan's app, which is known to be terrible, but I've never had a problem with the app from Nissan because I always use third-party apps. Sure, it was slow, but you could basically control, charging, start and stop charging, and preheating. That was what you could do. But with this app, there's you can see the car remotely. We have had the car for about 2 weeks, and we've done, two things with the car. The car has Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. I only use Android, so I've never had an Apple phone, so I can only speak for the Android part. Well, it has Android Auto, but it's not wireless. And I'm like, okay, I really want it to be wireless, so I can have my phone in my pocket and then go get in the car, and it will resume my music and whatever navigation. So I bought myself Android Auto dongle to get it to be wireless. You just plug it into the USB port, and it works. I got the Motorola MA1 because it had the best reviews. That's what people have been talking about, and it's really good. It's just plug and play. You have to pair it with the phone. Once you hold down, there's one button on it, and you just hold it down, and then you pair it, and then it's just, for me at least for 2 weeks, worked flawlessly. Never had a problem with it. Syncs up really quickly. Yesterday, we went to install a tow hook on the car. Sure, the car can only tow 300 kilograms, but that's not something I can decide. And for us, most of the time, it will be plenty, to go throw away, things from the garden and whatever on a trailer. The gas and hybrid version of this car can actually tow 1,250 kilograms. I don't know why there's such a big difference there, and I'm going to probably make a test of that if I find someone that has a smaller caravan that's like, let's say 700-800 kilograms, and just try to take our car, go without the caravan. Let's say we go for a 200 kilometer trip. We go 200 kilometers, see how much it will actually consume, how far, how much battery would there be left, and then put out a caravan. I mean, a reasonable one. Let's say around 750 kilograms up to 1,000 kilograms. You have to see what the consumption would be, because this is a very efficient car. So I don't see there being a problem. I don't know if it's just Hyundai being scared that if you would have a caravan on it that sticks up behind the car, that the engine would have to work so much that it would actually heat up too much, or I don't know. I don't see the problem because it's the same construction. The car itself, there's nothing different in the frame or whatever of the car. So I don't know. I don't know why. So, and this is just interior pictures of the car. It has electric seats. It has the ventilated seats in front. It has leather, which is really nice. I like it a lot. The ventilation, I haven't tried that much. I mean, I tried it when I got the car. I see it worked, and it gets coldish. Let's see in the summer, like if it's something that you really need. And the middle console here, you can see, I remember in the last video I was talking about it being in the way and making it feel cramped, but you get used to it very quickly, and it's not that cramped. It's really, I don't know, maybe gives you more of a cocoon feeling. Like if you go on an expensive airplane and you get one of these, your personal rooms or whatever, it gives you more of that feeling. I'm thinking that's what they're going for. As I said, the rear of the car, maybe not that big, but once you fold the floor, back seats, it gets flat, and I've driven some decently big items in it already, and having one passenger on the right side, not a problem. Sure, a lot of people, let's go back here, we're talking about the legroom, and it was not that good. But the thing is that, at least on the driver's side, and sure on the passenger side too, but on the driver's side, since the steering wheel is, you can move forwards and backwards, it's a lot easier to find a good driving position, even if I'm sitting a little bit further, in the car than I would do if there's not someone behind me. So you can create, space behind you without compromising, I feel. Of course, it depends on how tall you are. I'm 174 centimeters long, so I'm not an extremely tall person. So for me, it works just fine. Same in the passenger seat here. There's so much room here, so you can easily create space for a person behind you. When we went and got those tall boxes, it was basically, floorboards. I don't know what it's called, but floor. As I said, there was one person sitting behind the passenger seat, and there was never a problem, never any complaining. And as I say, we were still driving for a couple of hours, so that's a good testament for that there's space, I feel. Boot space, as I said, sure, but once you fold it down and you can take out the top cover, then you get really good space in there, no question about it, if you need it. Oh, this is just a Speedo. So it has also backup camera, and the camera in this one, when it gets dark, is a lot worse than in the Leaf. I don't know why, but it's grainy as... Oh, I've never seen such a grainy camera. But sure, then it also has backup sensors, so it helps out. And in front too, of course. So this is climate control, and you have it in auto. You have it on, I think I have it set on like 21 degrees Celsius, and you just have it there. And even though when it's really cold outside and the car's been sitting for 30, 40 seconds, it will go, but it's not that annoying. And after a minute, it will just... you won't even think about it. It's warm in the car and you won't think about it. And that, to me, is what an automatic climate control does. And our Leaf never did that, even though when it was new. It was just very badly designed, and I know a lot of people have complained about that in the Leaf, so it wasn't a star car. As I said, it has ventilated seats. You can turn the parking sensors on and off. Of course, very important if you get a tow hitch, as we did, so you want to be able to turn that off. Otherwise, there will be... it will be constantly beeping when you're backing up with a trailer or whatever. So that's really important. Auto hold, I don't know. I tried it, and maybe when driving in, a queue or something. But then you'll still be using the stop and go function. So we'll do that automatically. So I haven't found the auto hold to be that useful. Heated steering wheel works just fine. Gets a more comfortable heat, I think, than the Leaf, because the Leaf would get really, really hot to the point that it was almost uncomfortable, whereas this is more like it gets warm instead of being cold, and even more than that. As I said, ventilation of the seats, haven't tried that, the cold part. The heating works just fine. 3 steps, I think it gets, they're really good, well balanced. Like on the lowest one, you'll start on 3rd, and then you'll go down 1, and then maybe if you're feeling cold, you'll have it on 1, and it's very well balanced, in my opinion. Drive mode button, well, it has 3 drive modes. I've been driving it in Eco mode. It has Eco, it actually has Eco Plus, Eco, Comfort, and Sport. And I've been driving in the Eco mode because it's still really fast. So I've tried the other ones, but the only thing it feels like it does, maybe the Sport mode gets a little bit better gas response. I haven't really tried it out, because I feel that the Eco mode is still really fast. But a lot of the things it does, it changes how the instrument cluster looks. And the Comfort mode, you get like an analog speedo, and I really don't like that. Whereas in the Eco mode and the digital speedometer, and that to me is really something I've gotten used to. The Leaf had it, and the car before that had a Citroen that had it. So I've had a digital speedometer since 2010. So to me, that's really important, actually. Here's the head-up display, and that's a really useful feature. I'll use it a lot when it's dark outside, when I'm going, for longer distances, and I'll just turn the brightness of the standard driving screen down. And one thing that I found out, here's the blind spot monitoring system that it will light up when someone's passing you. One thing that it actually does, and I didn't know that, is that it shows the same icons in the heads-up display when you have the display on. And that, in my world, when I started using it, is a lot more useful because you'll a lot faster see those. In my world, I see those icons on the heads-up display for the blind spot monitoring a lot faster, and it works just a lot better for me. Didn't know that it had it. And also, if you're using the built-in navigation, which in my book so far has worked really fine. I've used it, in central Stockholm, the biggest city in Sweden, that has a lot of road constructions, a lot of new roads, and it works really well. And when you use that, actually on the right side here, to the right side of the green thing that is the speedometer, it will show you, the turn by turns. Like it will tell you, like in 500 meters, you'll have to go right or left or whatever, merging on highways, whatever. Apart from also giving you the audible thing from the GPS, but you don't have to actually look down on the screen to your right. So you can just focus on the road ahead, and you'll see all these things. The GPS, the navigation. You'll see the speed. You'll see if you have your adaptive cruise control activated. You'll see the the little white thing there is how what the road signs tell you, how fast you can go or whatever, speed limits. And then you'll also have the blind spot monitoring things come up if you have something coming on your left or right side. So it shows you exactly what you need. It's a really good system. So that's really good. There are no, also of course it has automatically foldable mirrors that will, fold out when you unlock the car. And this there's a button there, the auto button, so you can turn it off, because in the winter you don't really want that to happen. If it's too cold outside, if they're frozen, they'll freeze and you'll break the engine, or at least you'll strain the engine of the mirrors. So yeah. But apart from that, I'm thinking about it, there's just not, well, here's the audio brand of this car from Krell. So they're a very renowned high fidelity, maker of stereo components. The stereo system in this car sounds really good. The only thing I don't like is actually the subwoofer. Sure, there is a subwoofer, but it doesn't really give you a punchy bass. It gives you more of a boomy bass. I don't know, as I understand it, that's pretty common on, these branded audio systems. A lot of them will give you a boomy bass. So there's still some punch there, but it's a lot more boom than it's punching. So I tend to turn it down, so you still get a lot of real good bass. But one thing that this car, I never thought about it, but it has an extremely good way of reproducing vocals. It's extremely clear when it comes to what people are singing, what people are saying, but mostly music, and vocals and lyrics go through. That's really impressive. And sure, this car also has one of those center speakers, so it has a speaker, behind the big screen on the dashboard. But yeah, reproducing vocals, it's extremely good at. It sounds really good. It gets really, people would say, oh, wouldn't it be going even louder? But I don't, sure, maybe, but you can really top out. Like if you play music, you can easily go to, I think it goes from 0 to 40 in volume. And when you get to 40, it's really loud. But the problem is up there, everything sounds crystal clear, but the bass feels like it can't really keep up. It feels like, it's left behind and really struggling. It's not distorting, but it's like if someone loses, their breath and trying to catch up to you. That's how it sounds. But yeah, so and I'm probably, also depends on what music you listen to, but I would listen to some different things, and the bass leaves a lot to be desired. It's more, as I said, boomy than punchy. But otherwise, the audio system is phenomenal in the car. And what I was going on to say before I came to this picture is that it really is a car that has all the things that I can foresee that I would want. I can't think of one thing in a car that this car is lacking. Like, there's not one thing. People say, oh, but couldn't the self-driving be better? Yeah, it could probably be better, but it's really good, and it does exactly what I want it to do. And sure, I have to touch the steering wheel every 30 seconds. I'm guessing you have to do that in a lot of other cars too. So it has all the things, and it's not bad at anything. The rain sensor in the car, for example, compared to the Leaf, where the Leaf would be a little bit wonky. This is adjustable, yes, it's in the Leaf, but here is a lot more sensitive. So it has like 4 levels of sensitivity. I think I had to turn it down 2 levels, and then it's good. So everything is good in the car, and there's nothing that I really am missing That's the thing. The same thing there. So it can have a tow hitch. Sure, I would like it to be able to tow, let's say, 1,000 kilos or 1,200. That would be awesome, but then I'd have to buy a Model 3 or something. But then there's a compromise because the Kona, one thing that made us want it is that it's a little bit higher up. You're sitting a little bit higher up, not like a real SUV high up, but you have the, it's easier to get in and out of than, let's say, an Ioniq, because we tried them both, and that's one of the things that we liked about the Kona, like initially, but thought a lot of things were worse. Getting in and out of the car was a lot nicer in the Kona than it's in the Ioniq, because you're sitting up higher. Not an extreme amount higher up, but decent amount. So then that's the thing with the Kona. So you can feel that that's what you're coming back to. A lot of the things you have it all. And sure, some things could be better. Some things it's just perfectly fine, like ingress, getting in and out, perfect. Boot size, sure, but full of seats, and it becomes really good. Towing capacity, not that good, but it has it. Self-driving, I can't say that I've driven a car that is better, actually. So to me, in my world, it's totally fine. The app is awesome. There's just nothing. I've never tried an app for a car that is better. It's awesome. You can do exactly everything in it. So it's just, and it's fast. There's the car itself. Driving it is, you sit really well in the seats, especially leather seats, because we were talking about that when we tried the Kona. It was a car with cloth seats, and that's a totally different world. These seats are, in my world, phenomenal. It has lumbar support, and you sit really well, and the driving experience to me is really relaxed. It's a really nice car to drive, and it has all the power in the world that I would need. Once again, of course, there are cars that are faster that will do 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 5, 4, 3 seconds. This does it in like 7 something, but I don't see the problem. Overtaking, phenomenal, because it has a lot of punch. Even if you're going like 60, 70, 80, when you floor it, you're past that car just really fast. Whereas the Leaf, it would be really fast from 0 to 50, 60, but then it will die off. The Kona they have built in some kind of delay there, like a lot of car manufacturers will do in the electric cars, so that people that don't have electric cars or just buying their first one will get the feeling of the kickdown feeling that you get in an automatic combustion car. Though I'm not really a fan of that. Sure, I'm getting used to it, but I see that it's there. Once again, not the end of the world, not something that I would have chosen, but yeah. And if I come to think of anything else when it comes to this car, like let's say I try out, I'm thinking the sports mode. Like, does it actually take away the delay? I haven't thought about it. Maybe I should try it. And also, with the towing, as I said, if I find a suitable caravan, I'll definitely make a video like trying it out, since we now have tow hook on it. But there is, so if there's something you're thinking about, like if you're planning on buying a Kona, or you're thinking, is considering that towards other cars, if there's something that you wonder or curious about, well, please comment down below, because then I can easily check it out, and I can get back and maybe make another video even with things that people asked about, because that's what I found when I looked at videos about the Kona, that they're saying basically the same things, but there were some things that I didn't get. They weren't talking about the app, how good that was. No one told me that. LFA, the lame follow assist, how good or bad is it? The audio system, they just kept on saying it was a high fidelity system. It was really good, but me being a sound engineer, as I said, sounds really good, but the bass is leaves some things to be desired. So once again, if there's something that you are thinking about, or questions you have about the Kona, you're planning on buying one, maybe leave a comment down below, and I'll try to make a follow-up video. But I think that's gonna be it for now, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and bye for now.